Hello, my name's Roger Watson and welcome to this session on social marketing of your research and scholarship. What I want to do in this session is to give you some hints and tips on how to jump the gap from the normal promotion of our research through publication to using social media to promote it. Now, all too often the road to publication looks like this. We submit a manuscript which undergoes peer review, then it undergoes revision, then resubmission, and if we're lucky, it's accepted and finally published. And often that's where the process ends. However, we need to step off of that well-known road, that well-trodden road, and into a new world by using social media, which is a very effective way to promote our research and scholarship. So I want to help you to get from what might be your comfort zone out to where the magic happens, and to help you to break down any barriers you may have regarding the use of social media. What we need to do is to envisage yourself like this fish, the one jumping from one bowl to the other. Not to be like the rest of the crowd who are concerned about getting out the next publication, thinking, phew, they've made it if they get published, getting promotion and seeking journals with high impact factor, to doing something exciting and getting into another bowl, but then you need to decide, what do I do now? So what I want to talk about is social networking for grown-ups. However, to use social media, I still think you need to be a child at heart to some extent. You do need to be a bit of an attention seeker, and there's nothing wrong with that, provided what you're drawing attention to is something that other people are interested in and might find useful. Before I start, and I'm afraid this isn't a live link because you're watching it on YouTube, but I would really urge you to go to this YouTube on socialnomics and watch this video. It's very good, and if you're not already convinced about the use of social media and the way that it's changing the way that we exchange ideas, advertise ourselves and pick up information, then I think this video will help you to understand that. Social media have been known to promote what's called infodemiology. Tweets, for example, are known to predict citations of publications. Search engine queries about particular diseases and symptoms predict, for example, epidemics of influenza. Tweets during the H1N1 pandemic, that's the bird flu in Far East and Southeast Asia, correlated with the incidence rates. And the number of tweets about a movie actually predict its success at the box office prior to its initial screening. However, social media work through many means: blogs, pictures, internet forums, weblogs, and such like. And of course, microblogging, better known as Twitter. However, there is a bewildering array of different social media platforms, and we do need to be strategic. So if you're wondering what next, well, I hope this session will be of some help. Many people feel like this. They say that they just don't get Twitter. Well, I'm afraid whether you get it or not, and whether you think you like it or not, it's happening. And I want to stop for a little while to consider the power of Twitter. It's a very unique and very useful social media platform for promoting anything that you do, and I'll show you how. So by the power of Twitter, I mean the power to tweet and then for your tweets to be retweeted by others, as this diagram suggests. For example, using this tweet from Digital Woman with approximately 2,000 followers, then retweeted by Brett with 7,000 followers, then retweeted a couple of times. Within 3 levels of retweeting reached nearly 20,000 people. Now, all 20,000 people won't read that tweet or even act on it, but just imagine if 10% of them did. Of specific importance to us, can tweets predict citations? Well, in this article of the same name by Gunter Eisenbach on the metrics of social impact based on Twitter and correlation with traditional metrics of scientific impact, Eisenbach said that highly tweeted articles were 11 times more likely to be highly cited than less tweeted articles. The ratios and the confidence intervals are given there. He then said that top cited articles can be predicted from top tweeted articles with 93% specificity and 75% sensitivity. This led to the concepts of citations and to impact. In the journal Transplantation, an article by Knight titled Social Media and Online Attention as Early Measure of the Impact of Research in Solid Organ Transplantation, he said that the odds of an article being highly cited were significantly increased by a mention in social media, and the odds ratio of 2.58 was highly statistically significant. So there is some evidence beginning to accumulate that the use of social media can increase citations to your research and scholarship. So, how can you be useful on Twitter? Well, tweets should contain links, in other words URLs, to the material that you're promoting. Tweets can also be linked to pictures, and this makes the use of Twitter very powerful. For example, here's a picture taken during recent years in Hong Kong when there were some political protests, and I think it conveys the message very well. And you can see that there's also a hashtag there which I'll tell you about, and also a link. So pictures are a powerful way to augment your message. Tweets should also use hashtags wherever possible. But what are hashtags? The hashtag symbol is used before a relevant keyword or phrase with no spaces in tweets to categorize those tweets and help them show more easily in Twitter searches. Click on a hashtag word in any message and this shows you all the other tweets marked with that keyword. That comes directly from Twitter support. And we use hashtags at the Journal of Advanced Nursing to draw attention to particular articles. For example, this article by Philip Derbyshire and David Thompson on the thriller Elite. So do try to get into the habit, if you can, of using hashtags. Try to minimise trivia. It's all very well now and again to put out trivial material. I'm a little bit prone to this myself. For example, watching the Antiques Roadshow, which I reckon was more exciting than American football in inverted commas, as being sarcastic. And then I was watching the American football, and then I asked, does anybody know what the heck is going on? But as I say, do try and minimise this. It's all very well now and again, but if your Twitter feed is full of trivia, nobody's going to follow you. Do try to retweet interesting material using the retweet sign. And retweeting using this particular facility on Twitter shows other people that you're interested in their material and augments your own Twitter feed with interesting material. And don't be offensive, beware of the career-ending tweet. And this is just an example of searching the hashtag Thriller Elite. It not only brings up the Journal of Advanced Nursing material, but material written by the author himself, by someone else, and also tweets by the Journal of Advanced Nursing. The use of social media to promote research articles has led to the concept of altmetrics, and altmetrics are a measure of how often articles are mentioned in social media. All mentions are not the same. For example, a blog mention is worth more than a tweet, and a tweet mention is worth more than a mention on LinkedIn or Facebook. And we make use of this facility at the Journal of Advanced Nursing, and most good journals do this. They actually publish their altmetrics. You can see the symbol there, the AM score, and the actual score is 41. And if you click on the AM score, it tells you how that score is broken down. But as I say, be aware that, for example, blogs are worth the altmetric score of 6, a tweet is worth 1, a mention on LinkedIn is worth 0.5. So not all mentions in social media are equal. Blogs are very important, and that leads us to the use of Blogger. There are many blogging platforms, but Blogger is the Google one and happens to be free, which appeals to me. Blog is simply short for a web log, and it's a website containing any material that you wish to put up there. The great thing about blogs is they're very adaptable, and you can edit the entries once they're up or even delete them very easily. They're much more flexible than traditional websites. At the Journal of Advanced Nursing, we have a blog called Jan Interactive, and there we promote certain articles which we think are interesting. We make sure there are interesting links within the articles, and we also use pictures to try and promote that material. Another hint is to try and not make your entries too long. You don't want people scrolling down too far on these entries for material. 500 words, just approximately slightly over 1 page of web material, seems to be ideal. YouTube is another very important way of promoting your work, and YouTube is the largest video sharing site on the web. YouTube lets anyone upload short videos for private or public viewing, and of course it's free. 20 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute, and 100 years of video are uploaded every day, and in fact YouTube next to Google is the second biggest search engine. Podcasting is another very effective way of promoting material, and the beauty of podcasting is that podcasts can be downloaded and people can listen to them at their leisure. And we do have a podcasting facility at the Journal of Advanced Nursing. You can make use of free online podcasting services. You can also set up your own podcasting site for free, but that's very, very complicated and I wouldn't advise it. If you do use these free facilities, you get a certain number of podcasts free, and then you can pay what is a very modest sum to have unlimited access to the podcast site, and I would strongly advise that. So podcasting is something that you should consider. All you need is a handheld recorder that makes an MP3 file. You can download a free program onto your computer called Audacity and use that to edit the podcast, and that's all you need to do before uploading it onto your podcast site. Very simple, very effective, and you'll soon find that people listen to your podcasts if you make them interesting and useful. And finally, on the list of things that I'd like to mention here, don't forget online newspapers, particularly The Conversation, where you can write your own articles. You do have to pitch articles here and make them interesting and have them accepted, but it's not impossible, and it's a very effective way of getting material widely read, and they do like you to provide links to further material within the articles. So do take a look at the Conversation webpage. So it's all very well listing sites that you can use, but I've only listed a few, and I think those are the main ones that you can use. How do you make this work? Well, don't run your social networking sites in isolation. Develop a strategy for promoting your work and your profile. Decide what your essential content is, and decide how you're going to get it out there. And this is all nicely presented in 10 Top Tips for Academics on Blogging and Social Media by Matthew Rees in the Times Higher Education in 2015. Rees says, think through carefully exactly what you want to achieve by engaging with social media. Consider producing social media content as a normal part of your working life. Develop a sense of the advantages and limitations of each different platform. Be realistic about the time available to you. It may be more effective to engage on one platform than to spread yourself across many. Be aware of who might see what you're publishing online, but don't become paralysed by overestimating your visibility and the potential risks that come from this. Make your blogs easier to find and navigate by tagging and categorising the contents. Always include details of your blog in any conference presentations. Make sure all your friends, colleagues and collaborators know about your blog. Set up automated links on Twitter to announce each new blog post and allow people to subscribe to your blogs by email. If you use Twitter to promote a blog post, make sure the title is clear and self-explanatory. And here's my website from the University of Hull, and just to exemplify this, I've got my blog, my Google Scholar link, my list of publications, my researcher ID, my ORCID website and my SlideShare there. These are examples of some different social media site for academics that I use. I don't have my personal Twitter site there. We're not allowed to do that within the university. These are all official academic sites. Thank you for listening. That's all, folks. Here's my email address if you have any questions or comments, my ORCID number if you want to check my research record and publications, and the various Twitter sites with which I'm involved. My own one, Journal of Advanced Nursing and Nursing Open. Once again, thank you very much for listening.